Hi, it's Tisha Powell. Welcome to US Business News. I'm here to tell you about money. Today's topic is real estate. Is the American housing market in a bubble? Is it going to pop? And if so, when? Well, let's analyze it together. I have been doing real estate for the last 30 years, okay? So I'm 47 years old. In order for us to see this, young people, you need to understand the chart. Real estate goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, okay? It doesn't go up and it doesn't go all the way down. It goes in trend. This is why people are saying to buy real estate long-term and hold it, okay? Because houses, you cannot predict it, okay? So the best thing to do is to buy and hold long-term. Therefore, you can get over the wave. All right, helped hundreds of people save their homes in foreclosure. We're not in a bubble. Graph was done by very, very prominent people that study real estate. CoreLogic was one of them. I've used that graph to plot it. So what I'm showing you guys, look at the graph. It's not that difficult to read. I'll teach you how to do graphs because if you're in investments, you got to do graph. So I'll teach you that, Fibonacci and all that stuff. So 2004, if you look at the graph, 2004, what do you see? Prices were high. I was 25 back then. And I personally remember helping people buy homes in Florida in 2004 for $423,000 US. Same price as it today. Yes, young people, that's something you don't know. So that's what I'm trying to show you. Look at the graph, learn to read charts. 2004, 2020, same price. 2003, 2020, same price. 2008, a crash. Market dropped. Okay? What happened? Why did the market drop? The market came back from 2004 to 2020. Why is this market different? Why isn't there a crash? Well, there is a crash, commercial real estate. So what's the difference? In 2004, when properties were at 423, banks were giving money at 100% financing because government wanted everybody to get a house. So banks said, we'll get everybody a house. We'll just do 100% financing. That's big government for you. Big government caused the real estate market to crash by pushing 100% financing down the throats of the banks. Okay? Big government said to the banks, give everybody a house. The bank said, we will. They did 100% financing and the market crashed because people weren't putting any skin in the game. People weren't approved. They call them liar loads back then. So what happened? President Obama came in 2008, shut the banks, shut them down, bailed the banks, didn't bail the people. People lost the homes. And what did those people do? Those people went to rent or they went to live with friends and family. They were 25. They kept saving to buy real estate. They learned the lessons. The ones in 2004 learned the lessons that 100% financing wouldn't work. Okay. The banks left that and went to the commercial. Those banks that were doing 100% financing left now because government say you cannot go. The Dodd-Frank came in. The Dodd-Frank was always there. Dodd-Frank tighten up the rules. The Dodd-Frank tighten up the housing rules. Hello. People need to know this because Dodd-Frank tightened up the housing rules. There is no 100% financing. The banks were forced to give very tight loans in 2020. Okay. I bought a house in 2020. So I know that the banks screened people over and over and you needed to have 10% down minimum to get in. In 2004, you needed 0% to get in. So what you think is stronger, 10% down or 0% down? Now, if you know real estate, you've got to do 20% down to cash flow. 20% is a safe bet. 10% can work. Okay, 100% not working. Okay, so the banks in 2020 did 10% or 20% down or more. They didn't do that in 2004. Okay, so here are the 11 reasons. Sorry, young people. The 11 reasons that the housing market in America, the housing market isn't going to crash. The commercial market is crashing, but the housing market isn't coming down because people fail to see that the prices in 2004 came back in 2020. People don't know that. That's the same thing. Look at the chart. There's a difference today. Why wouldn't it crash like before? History does repeat itself, but it never repeats itself the exact way. So there is a crash happening in commercial. So you all guessed it right. Something was going to crash in property, not the residential. The commercial is crashing. Why is the commercial crashing? Simple. People are working from home now. People are working remotely. So the desire to have a single family home or a home, that's number one. People are on the internet. Digital asset was created. Virtual real estate. People are pursuing that instead of commercial real estate. The pandemic hit. What happened when the pandemic hit? People went and bought houses. That fear alone caused people to buy homes. They're not putting them back up for sale because everybody got locked down. So now people are beginning to say, I'm going to be locked down in a house. So people, why would somebody give up a home when the pandemic shows them that you could be locked down in a house? So you do see why people are not selling homes, why they're holding 2 or 3 homes together. They are scared. They are fearful that they're going to be locked up, and they want to have multiple homes so they can get locked up in different homes if they have to, or locked up in a nice neighborhood. You can't blame them. What I said earlier, number 2, real money. There is real money. There was no real money in 2004. In 2020, there was real money. You had to submit your bank statements. The lender would literally pull it. In 2004, the lenders didn't pull it. Now they're actually pulling it and comparing it. In fact, now the algorithm is allowing them to see the taxes. So they're doing real time. Those lenders tighten up. Don't think they didn't. The commercial already crashed. And banks today, banks in the United States, they're not giving loans under $150,000 for mortgages. What does that mean? That means the reality is these are the new prices. The price of 2004 came back in 2020, and these are the prices we have to live with today, okay? We see banks not lending money 150. Oh, but in 2008, banks crashed. That was different. Government shut the banks in 2008 and said, stop lending money out. This is different today. Banks are saying 150 is just not enough. That shows you that inflation is too high. Manipulated interest rate. What did government do? Government saw everything going up and they're like, it can't go up on our watch. So government does what it does. The housing market is definitely controlled by the natural progress, natural cycle of life. It goes up and down, supply, demand, natural progress outside of our control. People call it luck. People call it nature. Whatever you want to call it. Every single asset has a cycle of going up and down. They tend to be stocks, Bitcoin, housing. They all have a different cycle. The housing cycle is different from the stock market cycle. I know how to study the housing cycle being a security Wall Street attorney. I know to study, I know to study Bitcoin. And I'm just telling you that if you want to time the market, you need to know the housing cycle. So you need to know when it's going up, what it's breaking. You could call it speculation, but use your common sense when you do that. So federal government said, we're not going to have this housing going here. We're not going to have this inflation. So what did they do? They raised the interest rate. Interest rate went from 2% to 7%. That slowed inflation down. What it didn't do is bring the housing market down. Why didn't that? What President Biden and all those political people propose, why didn't it bring down the housing market? Because the housing market, that value is real. So manipulating it isn't going to let it come down. President Biden was able to get other things down, but by now, house is supposed to come down and it didn't. So even people on Wall Street are saying, these are the real numbers. Okay, sorry, young people, 2004 came back in 2020. Student loans were on pause. What did that mean? Lot more buyers, lot more potential buyers that missed out on the bubble. They were on the market. They were able to get in, okay, because student loans were on pause. So a lot of people who made 100,000 got in, okay. People use stimulus checks to get in, all right. People use their 401. My generation, 25 years old, if you save enough by 47 to 401, they use it. So it was real money, real deposits going in, real people getting in. A lot of Generation Z, they got in because their student loans were on pause. They ran in, bought homes. Okay. What else too? Savings are high. This is the biggest one. This is the biggest one. People who bought house in 2020, 2021, 2022, they're closing at 2 to 3%. That was not 2004. 2004, you were closing at a higher number, 100% at 7%. Today, they were doing 10% to 20% down, getting 2 to 3%. Why would somebody give up a house at 2 to 3%? You do understand that the fixed CD is at 8, right? So you don't need a rocket science. You don't need to even know money to understand 2% is a steal. So why would somebody give up 2% at a steal? Do you know how many people I told to buy houses and they didn't? They had the money and they didn't. They said they'll buy it another time because they couldn't understand. I'm like, it's 2%. It's 2%. Buy now. I've never seen it this low. I'm 47 years old. I wrote a book on banking. I never saw housing loans at 2%. I wish that I could have bought millions of them. I told so many people to buy and they said, we'll wait. Now they're going to get in now at this market. So that's the reality of the housing market, that the pandemic is affecting it. Real money went in 10 to 20%. The market looks exactly, the numbers, the same price you paid in 2004 is what you paid in 2020. So how can it be a housing bubble? Everybody says too high. It wasn't high in 2004 when people bought though, right? Banks, and they're doing 40-year loans today, okay? Why are they doing 40-year loans? Because they know the market not coming down. And the government, the federal government, FHA is buying bigger loans now. They're buying $1 million home loans now. Why is that? Because the housing market isn't coming down, okay? So get with reality. The banks and the government is making preparation for the housing market staying this way. How do I know? They offered 40-year mortgages. Never offered 40-year mortgages before. Another thing why housing isn't coming down, the US dollar is inflated. It's dead. See you soon. Take care.